Welcome back to Uncut. I'm Buddy Kunana. Tonight's topic is Let's Talk Politics. And Hans Plash is still here, but joining us is a very enigmatic and interesting personality, Mr. Glenn Chong, election advocate. So Hans, welcome back. And of course, Glenn, first time in Philippines.
Thank you, sir,
Salamat
for
po.
having me in your station.
Now, let's have introductions muna. Tell us a bit about who is Glenn Chong.
Previously, I was the representative for the Lone District of Biliran. Ang tinalo ko po ay isang haligi ng politika, si Jerry Espina.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oo, yung barangay captain ko, 3 lang. Yung sa kanya, 129. Wala ako mayor, wala ako vice mayor, wala
And yet,
ako
nanalo ka.
congressman, and yet I won.
How did you do it?
Ang tingin ko kasi is I will not be able to convince the people by just talking and talking. So what I did is kumuha ko ng papel. I wrote a letter to the constituents on one page. On the other page is a checklist kung ano ang promise ko. And then I signed it. And then I gave it to them.
Compact to the people.
Parang ito yung social contract ko sa inyo.
Ganda.
Wala akong politiko mag-promise na in black and white kasi mahirap eh. But by and large, sir, I was able to deliver those promises.
How many terms did you serve?
1, because I was able, sa mano-manong halalan kasi, nababantayan mo yung dayaan. Sa automated elections, you cannot. We will not stand a chance.
Very little trace and very little evidence and hindi mo nakita.
Wala kang makikita talaga.
Wala kang makita, di ba? Especially noong 2010.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. 2010.
Before we jump into that, let's talk about, kasi yung first segment, when Andy was here, we talked about yung presidential race and the latest surveys. Now, pag-usapan natin yung vice presidential race before we jump into the issue of automated elections. Latest survey, Chis Escudero and Senator Bongbong Marcos, neck and neck daw sila with Lenny Robredo gaining ground. That's the exact headline, gaining ground.
I
The biggest gainer.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's. We've been going around, even in the Visayas, where she's supposed to be picking up, she's not. The one who's picking up is Bongbong. I was really shocked that in Region 6, he's really very strong. So this is supposed to be Mar country also. So I suppose what they're doing right now the roll calling right now. They've been roll calling for the last week. They have their heavy guns in Negros and Iloilo and all those places of the LP to make sure that they'll be able to find out how to conduct this campaign. But I'm telling you that even with the youth, Bongbong is there. He's more than 50% already with the youth.
There really is a momentum. You can feel the strength of the candidate in these areas.
Yes, because there's no throwback to the past for the youth. They stopped talking about EDSA after Ramos. Pagkatapos ni Ramos, nobody was celebrating EDSA anymore. So this is more than 12 years.
Glenn, what do you have to say about what Hans has said?
Actually, ang tingin ko kasi sa service is unreliable eh. The first time that I publicly questioned the results of the surveys was when Grace Poe overtook Binay. So I made an article about that. And then kinumpute ko yung 1,200 respondents. It was not evenly spread across the country. Yes. It was not representative of the sample size, which was picked up by the Inquirer. They printed it on page 2. And I stand by my findings because I am also a certified public accountant and we have statistics in school. Now, I don't believe honestly in these surveys, especially because the sample size is very small. Because we know that it's elementary in statistics that the bigger is the sample size, the higher is your level of confidence. But be that as it may, it would appear that there's a bigger danger with respect to this service because they can be used to justify the results of the machine.
Yes. Ano masasabi mo about the vice presidential race? About Bongbong Marcos, his strength?
There was one time I was talking to another fellow lawyer and he said, lumalakas si Bongbong. So, he challenged me. Sabi niya sa akin, pasurvey mo doon sa lugar mo. In Biliran.
Biliran, okay.
Pasurvey mo. Because sabi niya, nagsurvey daw siya doon sa General Santos eh. Malakas daw si Bongbong doon.
Baluarte ba ng mga Marcos in Biliran?
Siguro because Mrs. Marcos is isang region yun eh. Region 8. Samar, Leyte, Biliran. But General Santos is not. Sabi niya, malakas si Bongbong doon sa General Santos. So, I asked my friend, I called him up, go around and do an informal survey. Ayun lumabas, malakas si Bongbong.
Si Bongbong.
But it's because probably Samar, Leyte, Biliran.
But Hans kasi said, the youth you were mentioning and pointing to the millennials, diba? Ito yung
Yes.
people born from 78 to 1999 who don't have very little recollection of the the martial law years. No?
Yes.
But surprisingly, even people who were at EDSA, marami ako nakikilala na who were at EDSA in 86, and yet, these days, Bongbong Marcos na sila.
Yeah, because there's a sense of betrayal. We put ourselves on the lines. And at that time, I was a student leader in London. And I was very proud that for the first time that in British history, when Nino was assassinated, it came out on ticker. First time I saw a ticker on the BBC, it announced Ninoy's assassination. And during the revolution in February 86, it was prominent. Then you come home to this. You come home full of hope. We came home after the revolution. And then you watch the situation just deteriorate further. And I'm sure the millions who were there in EDSA are feeling the same thing.
Yes, yes.
Di ba?
And sabi nga natin, the system of patronage politics, yung pork barrel lang, has become so much worse, no? In the last what, 25, 30 years. Sabi nga, I think it must be some sort of protest vote again, like
Andy said earlier, it's a protest vote. So I'm beginning to think also that the fact that they have stopped educating, especially the millennials, on what has happened in the past. There's no sense. The only sense of history that came out in the past 3 years was probably in the movie. So, so they all know Henry is dead already. So
si Lenny, because Lenny Robredo, Vice President candidate, in all the newspapers, she's the biggest gainer now. Yung headlines, she's the biggest gainer in the latest surveys. Ano masasabi mo, Glenn?
That survey,
Why so quiet?
mahirap paniwalaan ng survey.
when you go from 5 to 7%,
I
that's a
will go back
40%
to my
increase.
original position on the surveys. Ang tawag ko talaga dyan is survey.
Yeah.
Survey.
Survey. Kasi pag kinumisyon mo yan,
Oh. No, but it's
I cannot
true.
say, unless we come up with someone
Statistics yan
independently doing it, and then, you lay bare your basis for your findings.
Ask them the reason why they say it's the biggest gainers. Because from 5 to 7% is a 40% gain.
Yes.
So the biggest gainer, you gain 40%. It's a matter of
Unrealistic.
interpreting.
Pero baka,
results.
sir, because she come from a small base.
Yes.
So, pag 2 percentage points,
It's
mas
40
malaki yun. Malaki
you can
yun.
interpret it as a
Masasabi
big-
mong 40%.
Yes.
Because she come from a small base.
Yes, that's
You have to
right.
take that also in that context.
And it's the context that they're using.
Glenn, are you saying that perhaps these surveys are being manipulated to ensure a certain outcome in the elections? Is this what the position that you're supporting?
I'm looking at the results of the surveys when I looked at them, and when I see that parang hindi credible, of course I cannot give my imprimatur on that kind of survey.
Okay.
But there are reports that come to me na meron nga nag-o-offer para mapasok doon sa the winning circle. So
There's a price also.
that's parang may presyo eh.
Okay.
So we cannot rely on that.
Let's talk about your advocacy, Glenn, your election
Advocacy.
advocacy, which is you're very much against the current setup ngayon sa computerized election, automated election.
Yes, I am.
Bakit?
Because as we have always explained it, ang automated election system is parang bahay. You have the PICOS, front door mo, sabi ng batas, ito yung mga locks mo dyan. I-lock mo yan para hindi makapasok
May
yung
deadbolt,
magnanakaw.
may
Oo.
chain, may
may
ganyan.
chain, may lock pa, kung
May lock
ano-ano pa. Di ba?
Yes.
Merong chain yun sa
May
taas,
alarm
may chain
system.
sa baba. May alarm system pa,
Oo.
tapos may lock pa, doorknob lock. Tinanggal yun ng COMELEC. Lahat naman tinanggal nila. And even Chairman Bautista admitted for the first time that nagkulang ang COMELEC in 2010 and 2013. Precisely because they removed these security features. So, if you leave your front door open without any locks at all, then the magnanakaw is free to get inside, steal your votes, steal anything, close the door.
Specifically,
Walang
let's
forcible
talk
entry.
specifics in layperson's terms without going
Yes.
to technical. Ano yung mga tinanggal na security features?
Yung digital signatures ng ating mga guro.
Okay.
Because lahat ng resulta na ipapadala doon sa munisipyo mula sa PICOS, dapat may digital signature yon. Tinanggal yon ng COMELEC. Ballot verification, yung UV lamp, hindi gumana noong 2010 dahil nagkamali si Smartmatic ng ink na binigay. Kaya hindi nabasa.
Now, what is important about that?
The ballot verification
yes.
to prevent fake ballots from being used. Okay? Tapos, you have the source code review. Papareview mo yung software para walang malicious instructions doon sa loob. Okay, and the last one is voter verified paper audit trail. Ito yung resibo na
wala nung
mainit
2010.
ngayon. Wala yan
Wala
nung 2010, wala yan nung 2013,
2013,
wala
wala.
din yan ngayon kasi humihirit pa si Comelec doon sa Korte Suprema. As a matter of fact, we're preparing for the oral arguments. So, itong apat, wala. You see, all these four addresses different aspects of cheating. So that if you have all these four, at least kampante ka na malinis yung halalan natin, mapagkatiwalaan.
And this is nasa batas to.
Yes,
May
opo.
apat na yan dapat nandiyan.
Yes.
So how can we have an election with you know,
Yun
something
nga,
in the law is...
ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, this is neglect of official duty. At the very least, diplomatic din yung Korte Suprema, but that's actually, ang tawag ho namin dyan is premeditated criminal pattern.
So what you're saying is that these safeguards are in the law.
Yes.
And in 2010, 2013, hindi sinunod.
Hindi sinunod.
And mukhang itong 2016,
Hindi rin nila
mukhang
susundin.
hindi susundin.
According to law.
How can, it's amazing, no? This thing can be allowed to go on.
To be frank about it,
Please.
they have become bold enough. Because ang mga nakaupo ngayong mga politiko, the incumbent ones, had passed through this stage. Nanalo sila under this system.
Yes.
Why would they question? So why would they question? Why would they help us, the public, get the kind of election system we want? Credible, honest
Question
elections.
pa yung, yung legitimacy nila.
I have been questioning, actually, honestly, I have been questioning the legitimacy of the president down to the lowest councilor. Those that were elected by the automated election system, except for the barangay captains. Kasi yung mga barangay captain natin, they were really elected in accordance with law, BP 881. Pero yung those who were elected in accordance with Republic Act 9369, that's really questionable. Because nakasado sa batas that all transmitted election files must bear the digital signatures of the teachers. This is the equivalent of the mano-manong signature ng mga guro natin under BP
Bago ipadala dun
881.
sa...
Yes.
Yes.
Pero dahil tinanggal yan, and we have proof to show. Meron kaming slide ni Chairman Bautista. He was presenting in pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila. Nakalagay doon, digital signature. 2010, disabled. 2013, disabled.
How easy is it to cheat without these four safeguards in place? Gano'ng kadali?
We have to
Kaya.
qualify. We have to qualify this. For cheaters outside, meaning to say you're out of the loop. Hindi ka kasama doon sa sindikato sinasabi ko.
Ito lang sindikato.
Oh, yeah, no. There's a sindikato talaga.
Of course.
So if you are outside the Colombo of the sindikato, mukhang mahirap. Pero if you're within the Colombo of the sindikato, you are within mabilis lang ho yan. Because they have the controls. They have the pins. They have the authorization levels. So pwede yung baguhin. At any time, pwede yung baguhin nila.
You know, it's ironic, Glenn, no? Because you're saying that itong automated election process would put an end, supposedly, to the cheating of the days past. Diba, yung dating bastusan, yung mga ballot boxes, ballots, ninakaw, lahat, diba, yung mga COC, ganyan. And apparently, according to what you're saying, is mas madali pa nga ngayon, mandaya.
Yes.
Mas madali ngayon because not only madali, wholesale cheating is over a large, wide area is very possible.
That's why you have some countries that have already removed
Yes,
the automated. Germany has taken it out. Some parts of the US have taken it
And
out. already.
even Australia.
Australia, oh yeah, that's right.
They are reverting back to manual. Italy is also manual. Actually, pare-pareho yung sistema natin eh. Italy, pare-pareho. 2 araw yung halalan nila. Sunday and Monday.
And yung nasa voter, parang there's something that gives you that security that you have the ballot, that you put it in, and you know na may warm body na bibilang nun, di ba? Kesa yung sa computer, hindi mo alam talaga, di ba?
Actually, ganito yon. The tanim boto happens inside the machine. Tanim boto ho ang tawag ko doon eh.
Kasi nandun na yung nakaprogram na siya.
Yes. Bibilangin yan sa ilalim, patago. You never see them. We will just get the results after. Then, the question is, paano mo papagkatiwalaan yung resultang yan? Hindi naman namin nakita yung pagbilang ng makina. That's why we're fighting for the resibo. Because the resibo, yung proposal ko that I submitted to COMELEC was submitted to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, in that vote of 14-0, all adopted my proposal. Na kasi ang primary objection ng COMELEC, ang resibo daw gagamitin mo pambenta ng boto ninyo, sir.
Kasi
Body.
ayun yung proof.
Oh, yun, that was
proof
their
daw.
primary mantra against the resibo. But tama yung sinabi ng Enquirer editorial. The proposal of Glenn Chong squarely answered the fears on vote buying because you will drop it in the separate ballot box.
Glenn, Hans, you have to pause or break, pero when we come back, let's talk more about yung resibo. Paliwanag natin sa viewers, ano ba tong resibon to? So guys, stay tuned because more Philippines Uncut and let's talk politics when we come back.
Gumuho yung mundo.
Yung first segment, when Andy was here, we talked about yung presidential race and the latest surveys. Na, pag-usapan natin yung vice presidential race before we jump into the issue of automated elections. Latest survey, Chis Escudero and Senator Bongbong Marcos, neck and neck daw sila with Lenny Robredo gaining ground. That's the exact headline, gaining ground.
I
The
don't know
biggest
where.
gainer, the biggest gainer.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true. We've been going around, even in the Visayas, where she's supposed to be picking up, she's not. The one who's picking up is Bongbong. I was really shocked that in Region 6, he's really very strong.
Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Kunana. Tonight's topic is Let's Talk Politics. And Hans Flash is still here, but joining us is a very enigmatic and interesting personality, Mr. Glenn Chong, election advocate. So Hans, welcome back. And of course, Glenn, first time in
Thank
Philippines
you, sir,
Uncut. Salamat
for
po.
having me in your station.
Now, let's have introductions
No
muna.
problem.
Tell us a bit about who is Glenn Chong.
Isa checklist kung ano ang promise ko. And then I signed it. And then I gave it to them.
Compact to the people.
Parang
Oo.
ito yung social contract ko sa inyo.
Ganda, ganda.
I'm not, wala akong politiko mag-promise na in black and white kasi mahirap eh. Oh,
To be
so, but
accountable.
by and large, sir, I was able to deliver those
How
promises.
many terms did you serve?
One, because I was able, sa mano-manong halalan kasi, nababantayan mo yung dayaan. Sa automated elections, you cannot. We will not
There's
stand a chance.
very little trace and very little evidence and hindi mo nakita.
Wala kang makikita
Wala
talaga.
kang makita, di ba? Especially noong 2010.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. 2010.
Before we jump into that, let's talk about, kasi
Previously, I was the representative for the Lone District of Biliran. Ang tinalo ko po ay isang haligi ng politika, si Jerry Espina.
oh, wow, okay.
Oo, yung barangay captain ko, 3 lang. Yung sa kanya, 129. Wala ho ako mayor, wala ako vice mayor, wala
And yet,
ako
nanalo ka.
congressman, and yet I won.
How did you do it?
Ang tingin ko kasi is I will not be able to convince the people by just talking and talking. So what I did is kumuha ko ng papel. I wrote a letter to the constituents on one page, on the other page
Strong. So this is supposed to be Mar country also.
Oh.
So I suppose what they're doing right now of the roll calling right now. They've been roll calling for the last week. They have the heavy guns in Negros and Iloilo and all those places of the LP to make sure that they'll be able to find out how to conduct this campaign. But I'm telling you that even with the youth, Bongbong is there. He's more than 50% already with the youth.
There really is a momentum. You can feel the strength of the candidate in these areas.
Yes,
you just
because
came from.
there's no throwback to the past for the youth.